quick announcements, and then we'll get going on questions. We welcome Alabama student athletes to the stage: Aaron Estrada, Grant Nelson, and first-team All-SEC Mark Sears. We'll make a couple of the standard reminders that if you have questions, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. If you could provide your name and media affiliation when you ask a question, that would be great. As a courtesy to everyone working in here, please silence your cell phones. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function and we'll get to you as time allows. Recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras in this area is prohibited. Everything that we do here will be on the NCAA Media Hub a little bit after this is completed. If you could direct questions to a specific player, it helps our audio folks. If you want all three to answer, then we can handle that. But if you can direct your questions to a specific player, that's great. And I'll ask you guys, as you're answering questions, if you can lean into the microphone a little bit, that'll help with feedback. So we'll go ahead and start with questions. If there are any, we can take questions for student athletes.
For all three of y'all, last week Coach said that playing on Friday would kind of be beneficial for y'all for rest to get your legs up underneath you. Is that something that you feel like is true, and how has this week been from a rest standpoint?
Mark, let's start with you.
This week's been very good with rest standpoint. You know, we've been going in practice. We do a lot of conditioning, so getting up and down the court. But for the first Monday, Tuesday, and then from there on out, we just pretty much been doing skill work.
Grant?
Yeah, I mean, like he said, just practice the first 2 days was a little tougher, and then the last two have been a little less. And then, getting in with our trainer has been a lot more this past week.
Aaron?
Yeah, then kind of just what these guys said, the first two practices, it's a little harder. Then they kind of got shorter. Just skill work, like Mark said, and it has been helping our bodies to be fresh for Friday.
Julie Mitchell, WVTM 13 in Birmingham. I know after that SEC tournament game, I spoke with a few of you, and I know Coach said you guys have to make a decision coming into this game. A lot of you talked about what needed to be said. Since that SEC tournament game to coming here, what has been the conversation in your locker room between you guys of what needs to happen here in this game and not having a finish like you did in that SEC tournament?
Mark, let's start with you.
We just got to realize it's a new season. Everybody's 0-0. We just got to come out and just play with a lot of energy and enthusiasm and just set the tone from the tip.
Grant?
Yeah, I'd say for some of us, especially us three who have been here, I mean, I haven't played in the tournament, Aaron hasn't, but this late in the season, it's kind of win and go home. So, I mean, for Aaron, this next game could be his last game. Hopefully it's not. But for us, it's kind of win or else your season's over.
Aaron?
Yeah, I feel like we took the approach of first flip the page from the tournament. Like Mark said, it's kind of everybody's 0-0. And then off of what Grant said, everybody's banged up around this time, tired. So at this point, you got to find a way to win or you're going to go home. So.
This is, my name is Michael Bethley, from Black Lens News here in Spokane. And I'm trying to just get a perspective of a lot of the players that have come from a space of growing up in the black neighborhood, black landscape, and just being here in Spokane, we don't have a lot of the diversity that's here. Aaron and Mark and Grant, if you have any input on it, but what would it take for you to inspire some youth and give them some words of what it took to get to where you are, and how do you appreciate this moment being in this space right now?
Aaron?
Something I would say to the youth is just don't give up on your dreams. I have younger siblings, and they look at me as a role model. So for me, I kind of been, that person to look up to since since my two younger brothers was born. So, yeah, that's what I would probably say as far as to the youth.
Mark?
I say it take a lot of sacrifice. You know, you can't go out and be with your friends. You can't party, and you know, you just got to be disciplined. And in the long run, it'll pay off.
More questions? Anything else for Alabama student athletes?
Nick Gibson, Spokesman Review. What are your thoughts on Spokane, and how do you feel about having two other Alabama schools here also competing?
Mark?
It's a very quiet city, and just having Auburn in here, you know, we really don't. We see each other when we leave the hotel and we come to the gym, but other than that, that's all we do. Just really no interaction.
Grant?
Yeah, I mean, I love the landscape over here. A lot of hills, a lot of trees, and then like he said, for Auburn, like we don't really see them, but I mean, hopefully there's a lot of Alabama people in the building for both games.
Aaron?
Yeah, about Spokane, it's super quiet, like Mark said, well, where we're staying at, a lot of hills and stuff. I kind of got a little glimpse of that when I was over at Oregon. It was kind of like the same kind of landscape. But yeah, about Auburn and the other Alabama schools, we don't really like talk to them like they say, so I don't really have a comment on that.
Aaron, while you were at Hofstra, you played Charleston, I think 4 times. Have you brought anything from those experiences and those games into your preparation for this game?
Yeah, I kind of know their system. You know, I know how they like to play. I know most of their players on that team because, like you said, I played against them. So for my preparation, I'm already knowing what to expect and how they play. I try to tell the guys that too as well.
Brian Passink, Crimson Tide Sports Network. Did you guys grow up dreaming of this tournament, playing in this tournament? I assume you did. And if so, what are some of your first memories or greatest memories of March Madness?
Aaron, let's start with you.
I mean, for any kid that probably played basketball growing up, wanted to play in college, this is probably their ultimate dream. So yeah, this was definitely a dream of mine. And then my biggest moment, it actually wasn't that recent, but it was when St. Peter's went on that run. You know, because I used to play for that coach. I kind of knew all them guys, and I was extremely happy for them and proud of them when they made that run.
Grant?
I mean, yeah, definitely a dream of mine since I was a kid. I grew up watching all these teams, even Alabama. So, I mean, it's cool to be here. I fell short the past 3 years, but, I mean, it's good to finally get here and play. And then the most recent memory I have is Jalen Suggs hitting that half-court buzzer beater. That was a pretty cool moment.
Mark?
Yeah, I'd say it's been a dream of mine to be able to be here. I'd say 3 out of the 4 years I've been in college, and you know, one of my memories would be probably when Marcus Page hit the double clutch 3 to go into overtime. I forgot which team they was playing, but it's still fresh on my mind.
Let's go to Zoom, and Jack Knowlton has a question. Jack, what do you have? Jack Knowlton, can you hear us? All right, anything else in the room? Okay, we'll dismiss the student athletes and thank them for their time and wish them good luck. We welcome Coach Oats to the stage, and I'll make the standard reminders to please silence your cell phones. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone holder to you, and if you can give us your name and media affiliation, that's tremendous. If you're on Zoom, please use the raise hand function, and we'll address questions as time allows. Recording press conferences on cell phones and cameras in this area is prohibited. All audio and video, and as well as transcripts, will be in the NCAA Media Hub when we're finished. And we'll go ahead and ask Coach to make a quick opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. Coach?
So
happy to be out here. We've been sent out west before, at least personally myself with Buffalo, and been good for us. We're happy to be in the tournament. I mean, you know, to get a 4 seed, it's the first time in school history we've been a 4 seed or higher in back-to-back tournaments. So, you know, we felt like maybe we could have been a little bit better, but you know, we had some injuries. We didn't close the season well with our injuries, but we're excited to be in a tournament. We've got to obviously play well. Charleston's good. You know, when I started watching them, once we got to draw Sunday night, they're real similar to us. You know, Coach Kelsey does a great job. They're in back-to-back tournaments, so this isn't like new to them. They're used to being in the tournament with all the surrounding stuff that goes with it. They're not going to be intimidated by us. And offensively, I mean, they're one of the better teams in the country. So they play fast. They shoot a lot of threes. They run a lot of 5-out stuff. Got very talented players, so we're going to be ready to go. But it is good. We'll finally be healthy with both Ryland and Trelly both able to play, which it's been a little while since we've had both those guys fully capable without a minutes restriction. So we really tried to get healthy over this last, you know, we'll have only played the 1 game in the last 12 days. Our biggest goal was just trying to get healthy, and I feel like we're as close to healthy as we've been in a while.
Questions for Coach?
Yeah, Nick Kelly, Tuscaloosa News. 2, if I can, Nate. Nick Pringle, is he going to be available to play tomorrow? And Davin Cosby had a boot on his foot. Is he doing okay?
Yeah, so Davin broke his foot in practice earlier this week, so he's out. So we're not 100% fully healthy. That's the one injury, and it was unfortunate. I mean, I think he stepped on somebody's foot. He continued to practice, but then when we got it x-rayed after practice, it's got a break in one of the bones. So he's out, and Nick's available to play tomorrow. Nick's with the team. He was dealing with a personal issue. He's here with us now and should be good to go tomorrow.
More questions? More questions for Coach?
Blake Byler, BamaCentral.com. Coach, how have you looked at how Aaron Estrada played against Charleston in his time at Hofstra? Has that gone into any of your preparation for this game?
You know what? He played pretty well. I think he had 25 points in the first half last year against them. So obviously he's playing in a different system now with different teammates, and Charleston's a lot different. But it was still Charleston, and it's still, thank you, and it's still Aaron. So I hope he's got some confidence, because when he's playing with a lot of confidence, he's one of the best guards in the country. And I'd love for him to come into this game playing with all kinds of confidence. So, I mean, it's hard to go look at. It's just all different. He's got all different teammates, different system, but they've got some of the same players back, and he was pretty good against them last year. Yeah, he was very good, actually.
Julian Mitchell, WVTM, right here, 13 in Birmingham. Coach, I remember after the SEC tournament said that the guys had to make a decision coming into this one about how they wanted to play and how they wanted to go. What have you seen over these last few days to show that they have made that decision, and what's been your message to them coming into this game?
Yeah, we the last 2 days we haven't really done a ton of live stuff in practice, trying to stay as healthy as we can. But I thought Monday and Tuesday they got after it. You know, it's to the point you don't play defense, like your season's going to be over. So a lot of the defensive issues we've had, I feel, have come down to just decisions you got to make. How hard do you want to play? How much do you want to be locked in? And if you can't get locked in when your season's on the line, I'm not sure what will get you locked in. So I felt like Monday and Tuesday's practices were pretty good. We got back to just really some of it was just doing some defensive fundamentals and going over some actions that, you know, Charleston runs all kinds of sets. I mean, they're after tie, they're really good, but they've got some definite actions that you have to know how to guard. And we started putting that in Monday. Tuesday, I thought our guys were pretty locked in. So we'll see where we're at when we come out tomorrow, but I certainly hope we're playing with max effort and really locked in to trying to get stops on the defensive end, regardless of what happens on the offensive end.
Yeah, one other defense question, Nate. As far as messaging, I mean, this is your 5th season here. How has the messaging evolved in terms of how you approach defense when you talk to guys about it? And where do you feel like it hasn't been received as much this year?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I gave them similar messaging to what we gave last year. You know, last year the messaging was, you know, we were 3rd in the country in defense, won the SEC regular season and tournament, and made a Sweet 16 run. Following year, we were 92nd. We were, I believe, a 6th seed in the SEC tournament. I got bounced in the first round, the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. So we've got a guard. And that year we were 3rd in the country again and won the SEC, won the tournament, and proceeded to make a Sweet 16 run. We were the #1 overall seed. So my point this year was like, we got to get back. You know, our goal is to try to be top 5 defense in the country. Well, we're obviously not that. Now, do think it's a little bit different. You know, we had Herb Jones and we were 3rd in the country. That's huge help. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the world right now. He's guarding all the best players in the NBA when the Pelicans play. We had Bediako with, you know, some real rim protection last year. You know, we don't have Herb or Charles, so it's a little bit harder to be 3rd in the country in defense. But, you know, and we had the #1 offense for a lot of the year. And now we were a few possessions away from winning the SEC. If we beat Tennessee at our place, and that was an even game up till about the last couple minutes of the game when they kind of pulled away late. But, you know, if we'd beat Tennessee, we'd have won the SEC. So we were a lot closer to being a championship level team this year than we were 2 years ago. And I think, you know, our offense was a lot better. We moved the ball better, I think. And I think we've got guys that are capable of being good defenders that have shown it at times. They just gotta choose to guard. I mean, we've looked at some teams that have made runs in the tournament when maybe they didn't close the season great, and you know, we've tried to sell them on that. And you know, if when we guard, we can compete with some of the best teams in the country. I mean, Arizona, Purdue, Creighton. You look at some of these teams with their seeds that they've got and what they're doing. I mean, we had leads on all of them in the second half, 9-point lead, 6-point lead, whatever, like at least like a 60% chance or higher of winning the game in the second half. So we've competed with all these better teams in the country. And we don't have any bad losses on the year really either. Like 2 years ago, we had some like where we just didn't show up at all losses. We haven't had that. So while our defense isn't what I would have liked for it to be or what our program has kind of set the standard to be, I think we're capable of beating anyone in the country. And, you know, we're going to have to come out and guard this year or this week.
We have time for one more question if there is one. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.